Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glory Glory Man United podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn, and join me today to dissect that one each draw at the cottage is Brushy. How's it going, mate?
I've had better days, Carl. I've had better days.
Yeah, we said last week that it was an encouraging performance, but after that, we needed to start to pick up wins, and we haven't done that. I thought United were pretty good in the opening 20 minutes, probably should have scored a couple of goals. Then we got a penalty via VAR, and Bruno skied it into the stands. And Fulham seemed to grow in confidence from that. And I felt that United were terrible in the second half. Fulham's substitutions made them better, and our substitutions made us worse. And I've come out of this game starting to question Amorim a wee bit more. I'm starting to see lots of repetitiveness from last season. You know, United looking good at times, creating chances, but just not scoring goals. And we're seeing team selections that are questionable and substitutions that are questionable as well. And I'm starting to have major doubts about Amorim now, Brush. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. We knew the jury was out. It's going to be a very important season for him. And we said last week, it was very encouraging what we saw, but ultimately it's a results based industry, isn't it? And we were a bit more forgiving last week because it was against, runners up Arsenal, a consistent Arsenal who've been title challengers the last couple of years. Despite the manner in which we lost, we can understand and take some positives from it. And we said at the time that, going forward, it's imperative that we pick up points, and we saw Fulham and Burnley as must-win games. And like you said today, again, we started off well. Took the initiative. We took the game to him. Cunha, two absolute sitters. He needs to bury at least one of them. So the chances were there. And then as the game went on, Fulham grew in confidence. They got into it in the second half. I was particularly impressed with Kenny Tete, who was causing us all sorts of problems late on into the game on that right hand side. And then yeah, the decision making from the goal from the coach as well with the substitutions late on in a game when it's 1-1 and you're chasing 3 points. Why you bring on two defensive changes? I don't know. When Joshua Zirkzee sat on the bench, surely you bring him on and you really go for it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can see what he was doing with Harry Maguire. He's hoping Maguire will get a goal from a corner, and he very very nearly did. He tried to place his header into the far left corner, and it just whistled wide of the post. But that's desperation stuff. You're bringing
That is
on centre.
absolute
Yeah,
desperation. We're using him now like how we used to use Scott McTominay, but he's less
or
effective.
yeah, or how Mourinho used to use, or Van Gaal used to use Fellaini as
Fellaini,
well.
yeah, yeah, it was the same thing. Yeah, route one, late on in the game, just try your luck, and that it's just
Long
yeah, it's
throws,
nonsense.
and
Yeah, absolute nonsense, mate. So yeah, a lot of issues, imbalance in that midfield. It's not going to get sorted out without actual personnel changes. So we're kind of stuck with it, aren't we? Again, a few performances did stand out. Lenny Euro, week in week out, I'm just very impressed with this young man. I think he's our best player, our best centre back. Looks very assured. To give credit to Bayern Deer, he improved today, but again on corners, absolutely shocking. He just goes missing when there's corners. He just, he can't command his area at all. At one point, he was on the floor. Yeah, it's shocking, isn't it?
yeah, he just gets bullied, and by the centre forward or the centre half from the other team who stands on top of him, and he
Yeah,
comes and he flaps and he gets nowhere near the ball. It's just embarrassing, really. But
yeah.
he made a couple of decent saves, and he made a particularly good save with his foot during a one-on-one, very early in the
Hmm.
game. Uh, but yeah, I think midfield is a major issue for United.
Yeah.
Casemiro is obviously well past his best. He gets a yellow for simulation, and you're thinking, oh no, he's just one
Hmm.
tackle away here from us being down to 10 men. Thankfully, Amram recognised that and took him off. But I just I think the midfield is just not good enough. We've seen how they faded in the second half. Then he brought off Casemiro and Mount went into midfield and then that's really on balanced. Bruno and Mount as your pivot in midfield.
Yeah.
That didn't work. And then Ugarte brings him on, and he's just a liability. I don't think he's particularly bad today when he came on, but he doesn't fill me full
Hmm.
of confidence. Um, and the only other option he had was Manu, who just can't get a kick onto this manager, which is
Which is
extraordinary.
shocking, isn't it? Again, I mean, this is an issue that we discussed in the summer anyway, with the midfield imbalance and that, and not knowing what role Kobe Mainoo plays in this setup, and that is going to be a concern going forward. Um, yeah, so
Yeah,
that's an issue for me.
and the worst substitution of all, in my opinion, was Dallo coming on for Ahmad. Now,
Yeah,
I'm not for 1 second saying Ahmad was amazing uh, today, but he's always capable of a moment of brilliance. But aside
yeah,
from that,
it left much to be desired today, didn't it? Really, there was that one where they got past him and he made a good recovery challenge. But for me, personally, Ahmad does his best work in the final third. I think it's a bit of a
yeah,
problem him and Mbomo playing because I think they're both left-footed as well, aren't they? So they're kind of in,
yeah,
taking up similar positions and getting each other's way.
yeah,
Again, that's something that they really should have planned for in the summer.
yeah. Firstly, I think it's an issue. Ahmad playing right wing back anyway,
Hmm.
but bringing Dallo on was such a massive mistake because let's take a look at the Fulham goal. He tries a wee pirouette in his defensive
Yep.
third and loses the ball. 10 seconds later, it's in the back of the net. Now I know Bruno didn't track Smith Rowe, and he is obviously down to him as well.
Yep.
But the first mistake comes from Dallo, and then this sums Dallo up as well. In our attacking third, Mbumo plays Dallo in for a cross, and he couldn't even control the ball. Like went straight out for a goal kick. And you're like, there's
Hmm.
two incidents that just sum Dallo up. He's not good enough. He shouldn't be at United in 2025. But this is what I fear when Amorim got the job: is that Dallo's going to become a favourite because he's Portuguese, and he
Mm.
shouldn't be there. So for me, that's a major issue as well, Brush.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. And then obviously the goalkeeping thing's an issue as well. I mean, because of all the other stuff that's kind of gone under the radar, like the fact that Bayern is starting the season 2 games in a row, it shows that he's got a lack of confidence in the Nana. And now obviously we're linked to and in talks to sign Lemines from Club Bruges, is it? Again, from the Belgian league to this league, it's a big jump up. I see him more of a number two. Like if we wanted to make a statement, we should be going for a marquee goalkeeper who comes in and can improve the team. Like if Lamines comes in, I don't know. I think we might still continue to have problems, teething problems.
Yeah, I have no idea what he's going to do with the keeper
Yeah,
situation. He Something has happened with him and Onana. He doesn't
hmm,
seem to fancy him at all, and not that
yeah,
I'm against that, but
yep,
the alternative is by Endear, and then he just will not use Tom Heaton.
yeah,
No matter what happens. If
hmm,
Tom Heaton was the only available goalkeeper, he'd play Dallow in nets or something.
yeah,
Um, and then obviously, as you say, this young kid is probably coming in tomorrow, who we've been linked with
hmm,
all summer, and ideally for him, he would come in and be the Andres Lindegaard,
yep,
where he plays the odd game and he's able to get a feel for the league without the pressure of being the number one every single week. With no experience in the Premier League and being only 23, but United's goalkeeping department is so poor, he might end up being the number one because
but this is my concern though, Carl. I think we're going to be throwing this kid in at the deep end. He's going to need time to adjust and settle and develop and whatnot, and just acclimatize himself with the league.
yeah, the perfect game for him to come into would actually be Grimsby Town on Tuesday night if they can get
Yeah,
that
yeah.
done on time.
Yeah, definitely. Like I
Uh,
understand that whoever comes in, some of this stuff applies to, but given the current predicament we find ourselves in, and the manager clearly seems to have lost confidence in Anana, it makes sense now for me to go for a certified first team choice goalkeeper, and there are ones out there. Obviously, Donnarumma was like the dream one that we were linked to, but
yeah,
it looks like he's
they're
in talks
going to
with Man
City.
City. Diogo Costa, I'm hearing. Florian Plettenberg talked about it last week, and I couldn't believe my eyes. He was the only one really reporting it, but the fee caught me off guard. He was talking about something in the region of 20 million euros plus add-ons. So I don't know what's happening there, but again, this is one of those
You mean,
things. If there's any inkling of truth in that, that's a market opportunity
um,
that should be explored.
but just to clarify, you're talking about Galatasaray's bid for Diogo Costa, not ours.
He- he-
We haven't
oh
bid
yeah,
for him.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, yeah, that bit. Yeah, Florian Plettenberg was saying. the Galatasaray put in a bit of that. And I mean, listen, if he's available, because they see him as the backup choice to Edison, so apparently they're quite keen on Edison. So yeah, dominoes are falling all over the place. And listen, if there's an opportunity there, then why not? And obviously he's Portuguese as well. He's a bit older as well, more experienced. And for that kind of price, you can't really go wrong, can you?
We're not going to do it. We're going to sign the Belgian kid.
Yeah, again, see, so we're just setting this kid up for failure. I wouldn't have an issue if he's just the number two, but considering that he's just dropped an Anana now and playing Bayern there, I have a feeling, this kid's gonna
Yeah,
come
the
in.
way yeah, the way I see it, like the only possible way I would have seen Lemans being a number two for a season and then becoming number one. The only
Yeah,
way I would have seen that happening is if Onana was going to be the number one. That doesn't look likely anymore.
that doesn't look like it's happening, which is why now it doesn't make sense to me. Like I wouldn't have had any problems with this kid coming in to replace Bayern there. But if we just throw him in at the deep end, it makes no sense. Like,
Yeah,
let me put it this way, yeah, Carl. This is the kind of signing like a Chelsea would make, where they then send him out on loan for a season to Strasbourg. You know,
yeah, yeah. The the way I see it at the moment is that the manager fancies Bayern more than Onana.
And that
Um,
tells you everything you need to know. And then we saw like the good things, we also saw the weaknesses. Because in corners, like that's something that going forward we need to worry about. Because teams are gonna, target
targeted.
that. Especially up next is Burnley, who their main goal this season is survival and nothing else. And if I'm Burnley, that's absolutely what I'm playing for. I'm playing for set pieces, and I'm targeting the goalkeeper.
You could see it today. The corners were designed to get right in on top of the goalkeeper. That's what they were aiming
Definitely,
for.
definitely, exactly. So yeah, so that's something that we need to address. With the Lemins kid, I don't know enough about him to be totally honest. Like obviously we've seen compilations, but I'm not sat
Yeah,
down watching full Belgian league matches.
yeah. What I know about him, we talked about this weeks ago. That
Yeah,
he's made the most saves in the world last season, and prevented the most goals in the world,
yeah,
according to all the data. And he looks like a really good shot stopper. He looks
hmm
like a young De Gea, but I don't know what he's like under a big
under
in the
pressure.
swinging
Yeah, yeah,
corner.
because it's a different kind of pressure when you come here.
Like an in-swing corner coming on top of the
Yeah.
goalkeeper. I haven't seen him in that situation, so I don't know, what he's like,
hmm
or how he copes with that sort of scenario. But I'm hoping that he's going to be good at it. Do you know what? It's actually the goalkeeping situation is so up in the air now that against Burnley, let's say we sign Lemans against Burnley, I have no idea who he's going to pick. I don't. You just
yeah,
can't.
you just don't know, do you? At this moment in time, you'd think you'd keep a settled team in it. Like it's the third game of the season. You don't suddenly want to switch it up. And I think Grimsby would probably be the game.
Now, for Lemans to play against Grimsby, I think he'll have to be signed by midday on Tuesday.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay, yeah, they'd
you
have to
know,
really get it done.
uh, United, like the start of the game was so promising.
Yeah, yeah,
We
like hit the bar like what, a minute in, and you're thinking, "For yeah, we're gonna get a few here."
yeah, yeah, Kuna, yeah, he hit the post.
Yep.
Then he had that. I think that this is one of the reasons why Bayandir has been picked is because his
hmm
passing seems pretty decent. To be fair to him,
Yeah,
he played that lovely ball over the top for Kuna, who had a
yeah,
touch like Berbatov, and then his shot was
yeah.
saved by the goalkeeper.
hmm
Yeah, but we can't keep saying that we're unlucky. We play well, we're unlucky.
No, it's not.
You know,
There's no excuses. Like these are the teams that we
like,
should be beating, and especially the fact that we've spent 200 plus million on a new front line, and our first goal
uh,
of the season's come from
it's
an
an own
own goal.
goal,
It's shocking, isn't it? It can't be happening.
and yeah, scoring goals, putting the ball in the net is a skill in
hmm
itself, and we don't have
Yep,
it. So
yep.
we can't sit here and say we're unlucky every week.
And
I
we're
said,
2 games in, and we're what, on minus 1 goal difference.
yes, this is what I'm saying. It seems like more of the same of last
Yeah,
season. You
yeah.
know, this is why at this moment in time, I don't foresee a scenario where Amorim is going to be the manager that wins the Premier League at Man United. I just don't see it.
Win the
Yeah,
Premier League. I think his main
you know,
concern this season now should just be to
yeah.
last
To
the
be
season.
honest, and what I've seen so far, I don't think United will even finish in the top 10.
Yeah,
That's how.
yeah. If we continue in this vein, it's going to be very difficult. And
Yeah, I think even if Lamens comes in and he's brilliant, that still doesn't solve everything. Because our
yeah,
midfield is terrible. It really is. Um, we just seem to be loaded with number tens and
hmm
short on central midfielders.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
such an
And then
unbalanced squad.
obviously, Bruno, you can see the problems he's having adapting to this new role a bit deeper, and then playing him and Mount in the same team. Just rotate between the two. Just
And
play
it
people where they belong.
and he will not start Sesko. He loves Mason Mount,
Yeah,
and to
yeah,
me it looks as if he's going to die on the Mason Mount hill.
yeah.
Um, like I like Mount, he's industrious, but most of most of the things that Mount does well are without the ball, not with the
hmm
ball. Like couple of like he was involved in the early moves in the game. I'll give him
I
that.
think he did all
But
right today, though. To be fair to him, I think he did
yeah,
all right today.
he there's nothing. I don't have any issue with Mason Mount playing per se, but not
Yeah.
at the expense of playing a striker.
hmm
Do you know what I mean? We have to have a centre forward in the team. We're just not going to score goals. And it's not a coincidence that United have not started with an out-and-out number nine in their opening
hmm
two games and haven't actually managed to score a goal ourselves.
Yeah.
We've only scored one own goal across 180 minutes, and it's if we're not going to start with a striker, then this is what's going to happen. When we're like this,
Surely Sheshko
fluid
gets
from.
to start the next game. Surely he's got to start.
I thought he'd start today, to be honest, Bruce. So I don't
Yeah,
know if he will or not.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but I suppose again, Grimsby offers a great chance for him to get a couple of goals
hmm
and get his confidence up in English football.
Yeah.
Um, surely Sesko and Menu have to start against
hmm
Grimsby Town on Wednesday night. But you know what? He keeps saying that Menu is in competition with Bruno for his place, and he keeps competing in training, and then he decides which one will play. Look, he's
hmm
never going to play Menu ahead of Bruno Fernandez unless it's a League Cup
No.
game or something.
Yeah.
You know, like he just doesn't fancy the guy. That's clear, and he just won't say it because
Pretty much.
he's afraid of Manu going somewhere else and maybe proving him wrong.
hmm
So he's keeping him there. He's not playing him. The guy is going to get severely pissed off sooner or later. He's not even coming on as a sub. He's bringing Ugarte on before him for frick's
Yeah.
sake. And I don't know how you can go from starting the Euros final for England against Spain to
hmm
not even being an unused sub for Man United.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like you talked about the two defenders coming on when we're looking for a goal. You should have been bringing
Yeah.
Manu on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look how
Mainu Xerxes should have been.
yeah, look what Manu did against Leon when he came
Yeah.
on. Brilliant
And
goal.
again, Xerxes, we've just not really seen him. Like we were talking as well in the summer about potentially
Do you know?
what he could do in bringing out the best of Cunha and Mboma. We've not really seen it. We've not seen that.
Yeah, I it might be down to the fact that he was injured for most of pre-season,
Yeah.
but it's actually got to the point where I forgot he's even there
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
we've seen so little of him in pre-season and at the start
Yeah.
of the season. I forgot if he's even
Definitely.
on the bench, to be honest.
Definitely. And also, I thought it was quite telling as well. The manager couldn't even look at the penalty.
Um, yeah,
He was
I,
looking at
that's,
the floor when Bruno
you know what?
Bruno
You know what?
ran up. He was looking at the floor. He wasn't
That
even
reminds
looking at
me
it.
that when we're defending corners, he's got his head
Yeah.
in his hands. That doesn't inspire
Mhm.
confidence in your team when you're doing that.
No. No.
You know, so he's given this bullish defense of
Yeah.
Bayendier in his press conference. And he walks
Mhm.
off because he doesn't like a question of Bayendier. But when Bayendier is defending the corner, he's standing like this with his head in his hands.
Mhm.
So he doesn't have that much confidence in him. You know,
Yeah.
and and you as a defensive unit, your manager can't bear to watch you defending the corner. He can't bear to watch you taking a penalty. It doesn't tell you that your manager is confident in the team. This is not going to work out, Brush. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen. Like you know,
Yes, it's looking that way, isn't it?
we're slow walking towards another inevitable sacking. I'm afraid. I know some people will not like me saying that this early in the season,
Mhm.
but that's just the way I feel. Um, Now, Books in the comments says Dorgu and Ahmad very poor today. I agree with that. Yeah, I think Dorgu was terrible in particular. Yeah, it was one of his really after promising pre-season and a good game against Arsenal. I thought he was pretty poor today. And Lockman is hi everyone, big up. Levy out, obviously a Spurs fan. Still Levy out, despite the fact they're top of the table, or second in the table at least. They've had a sensational start to the campaign. Um, why does this always happen to us when we we bring in a manager, it doesn't work out. Other team brings in a manager and they hit the ground running. Thomas
Yeah, yeah.
Frank was linked with United, and I know it's only 2 games in. Postecoglou had a great start at Spurs, so I won't read too much into it. But they've already beaten Man City away from home. You know,
Definitely. So yeah, time will tell in it. But yeah, so yeah, I think it's the fact that obviously with this manager, we've already been given a sample size based on last season, and that
yeah.
was diabolical.
And the big concern for me is that we've totally changed the entire front three,
Yeah,
and what we're watching is exactly the same as last season.
yeah, yeah. And this was one of my concerns when we were just going so top heavy, and the money spent as well. This is why I preferred an approach where it looked at players that fitted the system, and you have to improve all around. You can't just concentrate on one thing at a time and spend money frivolously, especially when we're not owned by oligarchs. You know, if it was a Man City type ownership situation, then cool, it's fine because we know the purse strings are still open for midfield and to address the goalkeeper and everything else. But that's not the case for United. And now you're 200 million down on the front line, but the midfield is imbalanced. The wing backs aren't good enough. You got an incompetent goalkeeper. Lots of issues.
Yeah, and what I read a couple of days ago, whenever the tier one journalists started to tell us that Le Mans talks were now advanced. United were going
Yeah.
all in for Le Mans. The What we were told was that United weren't going to sign a goalkeeper,
Hmm.
but after the Arsenal game, they changed their minds.
Yeah.
So again, they're all over the place in the transfer market. They're making decisions based on what happened in a game in August. We've seen that. We've seen this movie before. With
Yeah, and it's never good. It's never good. I
you know,
remember after United years ago when United beat Arsenal 8-2, that that forced Arsene Wenger into making some last minute signings, and he ended up with some absolute duds like Andre Santos at left back, who was a liability. And yeah, I feel like we're doing something similar now. You should never make those kind of decisions just based on one or two results. You should have a long term plan. And also, this is why I think we're just honestly we're setting this kid up to fail. Who's coming in?
yeah, because he cannot continue with Bayern and goal.
Yeah, the
Um,
only the only way we're gonna win this one, mate, is if he comes in and he just astounds us, and he just
yeah,
it's one of those Disney stories where he just takes to the league like duck to water.
yeah. But given what we witnessed in the last 11 years, how likely is that?
Yeah, but how likely is that to happen? That's the thing. Like, I don't even need him to be elite or anything, just competent. But even
Yeah.
that, it's a tall order. It's a tall order in this situation, which is why if you are gonna, make changes based on what we've seen, I think now is the time to act for a more experienced goalkeeper. And obviously, the Belieber thing's not worked this summer, so we know there's some money left over. Go get a certified goalkeeper. Go explore the Diogo Costa thing.
Um, what Fabrizio Romano was saying that Le Mans is actually he's only his current salary is 800,000 euros a year.
Wow.
Um, and Donnarumma, as you said before yourself, that
Yeah,
his salary is
it's
enormous.
ridiculous.
Uh, this is why United are not interested in Donnarumma. They don't want to
Yeah.
pay those wages to goalkeeper. So Fabrizio Romano was saying that Le Mans at United will earn a tenth of what
Hmm.
Donnarumma is going to be earning at Man City. A tenth.
Yeah, but
So
then,
this is why
but for that, you probably get a tenth of the player as well.
bit
When
harsh.
you talk about significant upgrades like Donnarumma, say what you will, he is on ridiculous money, but he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Yeah, but yeah, United
So
decided to
that's what
go
you're paying
for
for. So
United. Was-
as much as we say that, Carl, like even the new front line, what are the new boys on? They're not on peanuts. So when they want to, they'll splash the cash. But yeah, this is a time where you need to really. Opportunities like this don't come around often. But it looks like Man City
No.
for him.
It's really strange because he one of the major issues with Donnarumma's game
Hmm.
is his distribution.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and playing out from the back and all that stuff. He's more of a shot stopper, is what he's known for, and that's something that
yeah,
we've been crying out for the last 2 years since we got rid of De Gea.
but this kid is a good shot stopper.
Yeah.
I just hope that he's able to command his area as well. But we shall
Hmm.
see. Um, we might we might sit here and say we need an experienced goalkeeper, and that's a valid point. But as you said, he could end up surprising us all and just being
Yeah.
amazing, and that'd be great. But
Hopefully,
uh,
the annoying thing about this, yeah, is that it's two sides of the spectrum, isn't it? It's two extremes. You've got Donnarumma on one end, absolutely brilliant, experienced but very expensive. Then you got Lamines on the other end, unknown quantity, inexperienced. For me, uh, you should meet in the middle, and that's where Diogo Costa comes into it now,
mm, yeah,
where the
but
fee doesn't seem to be as crazy as it used to be a couple of years ago. So surely it's
but
worth an inquiry.
we have to caveat that by saying that Diogo Costa is not without his flaws as well.
Oh, he's absolutely not without his flaws either. It's really the quotes of the fee involved that make this one intriguing.
Yeah, well, the 20 million euro wasn't accepted. They wanted,
Yeah, they want
the,
more.
and they want more, but
Yeah.
it's a world away from what the 70 million euro that was being quoted
Oh
years
yeah, yeah.
ago.
That was the release clause, wasn't it? So yeah. So the fact that they're willing to do business, and it will probably be a lot less. Obviously more than 20 million euros, but what 30, 35 gets it done. You would think.
Yeah. Um, no, well, it would be a surprise if United pivoted to Diogo
Yeah.
Costa at this stage, but um, I'm just not convinced that I'm
Hmm.
not convinced by Amorim's team selections. I'm not convinced
Mm.
by his substitutions, but I'm also not convinced by this system as well. I just don't
Despite
think
his
it's work.
system.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those. I mean, we are creating more chances now. Um, but then I don't know if that's down to the system or if it's just what happens when you put better players in.
but yes, we started off well. We should have been leading at
Yeah,
half time. We should have got a couple of goals in the first half,
we could have
but
been 2 or 3 nil up in the first half if we're being honest.
we
We should have been.
absolutely faded in the second half, which is a
Yeah,
huge
yeah, it
concern.
was non-existent, and the more the game went on, the more they came into their own. And little Kenny Tete, their right back, he was terrorizing us late on.
And
Some of the challenges he was winning in our box and putting crosses in, I was getting really, really worried.
we were hanging on,
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
honest. Um, yeah, yeah. You mentioned that the about, about how good Laniero is. That
Hmm.
tackle that he made, that
Hmm.
was sensational. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, one on one. Got yeah to clear the ball from that position was brilliant because you're thinking there, oh no, he's gonna lose out, and they're in on goal, and yeah, it's just brilliant.
yeah, because if he doesn't make that, he's
Yep,
off, you know.
yep,
Uh,
yeah,
but
yeah, defo, defo,
but he's got form for making that kind
yeah,
of challenge.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. He's not afraid of a challenge, is he? There was another one as well where the ball was in the middle of the park and he came rushing in,
yeah,
to
oof, that was a
to
bit
get the
dicey.
tackle in. Yeah, that's one of those ones. Like, yeah, if you mistime that a bit further, then yeah, that definitely would have been would have been a card.
And if I'm being brutally honest, um, he was a bit fortunate with our goal.
Hmm.
He I think he pushed.
He pushed Calvin Bassey. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
If both arms were out, I can understand if Marco Silva and his boys were complaining about that one. If it happened against us, I would feel that yeah, we were hard done by.
yeah. Marco Silva will undoubtedly complain about that because he's one
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
biggest whingers in the Premier League.
Hmm.
Uh, he got straight as soon as our penalty was given by VAR, he was straight out of his
Yep.
bench to remonstrate with the fourth official. I knew that was coming. We've seen him get red
Hmm.
carded against United before, Marco
Hmm.
Silva, when they imploded that time in the FA Cup. Um, uh, but I think the referee was terrible overall, to be honest. They Casemiro gets booked for simulation. But yet, before that and after that, there was persistent fouling from Fulham players, and nobody got booked. Nobody.
Yeah.
I think eventually somebody got booked on the Fulham side later on in the game, but there was foul after foul after foul, and no card was coming out. Yeah, Chris Kavanagh is just another one of those average referees in the Premier League, and yeah, he's just. Uh, they seem to be they're going to clamp down now on the wrestling in the box, and was it Calvin Bassey? It was a wrestling move he did on Mason Mount.
Hmm.
He just can't do that.
Hmm.
Uh, so they made an example of him and give the penalty. That was the same guy who went down holding his face when Mbumo, you know, uh, a hand from Bumo accidentally touched him in the face, and he went down holding his eyes. And then
Hmm.
the referee is on new rules now is that if you're down and you receive treatment, you have to go off the pitch for 30 seconds before you can get back on again. And he cried and he moaned about that. You guy Bassey was just doing my head in the whole game, like he just a bit of
Yeah.
a dick, really.
Yeah, with
Um,
that though, I suppose it cuts out the simulation now, innit? So people only really leave the pitch if they absolutely have to, I guess.
mhm. Yeah, but he was like when Bumo accidentally touched him with his fingers in the nose, and the
Hmm.
guy just goes down holding his face. It's embarrassing. Like,
Especially when you're such a big guy like he is.
yeah, yeah, he seemed to be involved in absolutely everything that guy today,
Yeah.
and none of it was positive. He's
Hmm.
just a really unlikable footballer. But that horrible miss by Bruno just galvanised Fulham, and
Yeah.
it had
Yeah. Absolutely.
and
And he usually goes for placement. I don't know what he was thinking.
yeah, was
He usually just picks one of the corners.
we seen Bernd Leno trying to put him off, gamesmanship
Yeah.
coming up to talk to him, uh, and then he seemed to bump into the referee as he was making his way back
Hmm.
towards, when you set down the ball and then you walk backwards. It seemed the referee walked into him at that point, and I don't know if that put him off or not, but it was strange. I've seen Bruno miss before, but I've never seen him
Yeah.
miss the target.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
that
And
was
we've
like
got
back in
options in that department as well now because Mbomo can take penalties.
that was like Beckham's penalty against Portugal in Euro 2004, way
Mm-hmm.
into the Rose Ed. Um, but yeah, you mentioned the potential for other people to take penalties, but will Bruno allow them to? That's the question.
Surely that's where the management comes into it. Should it be on the player?
Because since Bruno signed for United, the
Yeah.
only time where he wasn't the number one penalty taker was when
Hmm.
Ronaldo was at the club. He
Yeah.
was the only personality that was bigger than Bruno.
Who could take the pens off him? Yeah. Yeah.
Where apart from that, he just takes all the free kicks and
Hmm.
corners and penalties. But I
And
have
free
noticed that,
kicks as well. I mean, we have options for that now as well, and yeah, surely that's got to give. He can't just be in.
and I have noticed that Mbumo was taking the corners from the right side,
Hmm.
and so we're getting in swingers from both sides, which
Yeah.
is good. I didn't like right footed player taking it out there on that side
Hmm.
and crossing it away from the goal.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
with there's so many issues still with this team. I mean,
Hmm.
but I would say midfield is as big as an issue as the goalkeeper. It's
Definitely. Definitely. But that's not something that we can just solve with any one signing. Like, if we're being honest, Bruno needs to move on. Casemiro needs to move on. There's question marks around Ugarte as well. I think next summer that's going to be a complete surgical overhaul in midfield.
yeah, let's face it, Gigarte at 50
Yeah.
million has been a waste of money, and that was only a year ago. That was a
Mm.
bad signing, in my opinion. Because look, even the manager is admitting it because he's not playing him. He's playing a 33.5-year-old Casemiro instead of Ugarte. That
Yeah.
tells me everything I need to know about what he thinks of Ugarte. Um, so Casemiro is just past his best, and you know he's having to be substituted in every game because he's
Hmm.
he's puffing. He just can't last 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, he's off the pace. He had another one of those challenges where he slides in and he misses the ball and the man, and you're like, "Whoa, this is just amateur league stuff." Uh, and as you say, Bruno, is he central midfielder or is he number 10?
Mm.
I think he's best. form for United has come at number 10. I'm just not convinced by him as a central midfielder. He can do a job in there, but is that what you want every single week?
Yeah,
And he's not using Menu at all. Um, yeah, so midfield is a major weakness. In fact, it's actually worse than I thought it was before the season started. I
yeah,
know, yeah, we really need. We can see why they were in for Baliba. But
yep.
if that's not going to happen, they need to be looking at alternatives. I know they've been
And
talking
this
about
is also one of
Adam.
the reasons I was like, yep, the 100 million from Saudi, yeah, I would have taken it. It would have just aided, just sped up that rebuild that's coming. It's inevitable.
There's been talk that Saudi have come in again in the last few days for Bruno.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, Al Ittihad, the team that Karim Benzema plays for, apparently they're interested. I mean, if there's any inkling of truth, I would take it.
But if he turned him down in June, he's not going to change his mind now. You know,
I don't know. It's a different club. It's a different setting. Maybe if he sees that it's more of the same this season, who knows? Maybe if now the club tell him, listen, Bruno, like we're going to move in a different direction.
it doesn't seem like the type of decision that they would make in the last week of the window. If they were going to,
Yeah,
if they're going to sell Bruno and bring in and rebuild the midfield, they would have been doing that in May and June. They wouldn't
yeah.
have been doing that now in the
Unless
24th
you
one.
know, unless they think they can, that would enable them to push through with Baliba now. Because if you leave it till next summer, then competition is going to be intense with other clubs in the fray as well. So they might think to themselves, "Oh, we might, be able to put together an offer here, push the boat out, and get that done."
Yeah. So other alternatives that have been talked about, if with Baleba being so expensive, is
Mhm.
Angelo Stiller at
From Stuttgart,
Stuttgart.
yeah,
He looks like a tidy footballer.
yeah,
Really good on the ball. Another very similar player to him, of course, is
hmm,
Adam Wharton at Crystal Palace, but they've already sold this summer, and
yeah,
they've already sold Eze to Arsenal. They could sell Mark Gahey to Liverpool potentially.
yeah.
So I don't see them selling Adam Wharton as well.
Nope.
Uh,
And also, the money as well. Obviously, with Mark Gray, he's in his last year of his contract, so that's why it's low. Last season, they turned down, I think, 65 million they turned down from Newcastle. So they're not afraid to say no to big money offers as well, and they'll want a ridiculous fee for Adam Wharton.
Absolutely,
Stiller
yeah.
Stiller would probably be the one that makes more sense from a financial perspective. He did actually have a release clause in his contract, but I don't think that's any longer the case because he signed a new deal this summer. Because that initial release was about 35 million euros.
I do think that next summer we'll definitely, as you said, rebuild the midfield. I think
Yeah.
we'll go big on Baleba or Adam
Hmm.
Morton. Uh, but the problem is we're only 2 games into this season. What are we going to do now?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
That's the thing, isn't it? And then yeah, and this is one of the things we talked about as well. The fact that you don't know where Kobe fits into this team and system, and that's a concern.
it's a major concern because we
Yeah, yeah,
cannot let go of a player of that quality.
yeah, yeah. Of that
You know?
talent, who's homegrown, who's come through our system and academy, and that you surely need to be looking to build around him, and that doesn't seem to be the case. And we've already seen it go left with Garnacho. We can't keep letting go of our best young players.
You know, I would, but I'd be willing to bet now that Manu will outlast Amorim at United.
Mm, possibly,
Um, so the goalkeeper situation is that we're going to continue. We're not going to get rid of anyone in this window.
no.
And one of the reasons for that is because of Afcon. Uh,
Hmm.
and Afcon's going to take place. It's going to start in December this time, and it's
Hmm.
going to go right through to the 18th of January. So that means Onana will be
And
gone.
December is
So
a
that's
is a crazy time, isn't it? Because there's a lot of fixtures
yeah, it's
that come
very
thick and
busy,
fast.
very busy.
But
Yeah,
yeah, it probably affects us less in Jan than December because January it was usually the cup season anyway. So there might be one, maybe two Premier League games that month at most. Whereas December, yeah, you can sometimes have two fixtures in just a couple of days.
So once AFCON is over, they might look to sell somebody in January.
Hmm.
But for the moment, they're going to continue with four goalkeepers, which is absolutely insane. But
Yeah.
mm, I just don't understand why Tom Heaton got a new deal. What's the point of this guy? He's never going to play him.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, I don't really understand that one either. I thought surely they could just give that third position to like Nathan Bishop or someone from the youth team and just kept it moving.
yeah, absolutely extraordinary, as
Hmm.
you alluded to earlier, that it's 1-1. We've got a corner in
Yeah,
an attacking part of the pitch, and Menu and Xerxes sit
yeah,
down, and he brings on two centre halves.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. At that point, you're just thinking, oh, you're trying to just, look after this 1-1 draw, which, it's always going to rub the fans up the wrong way, isn't
or you're just hoping that Maguire scores a header
it? Yeah,
from a
or just
corner.
that, yeah, again, like like we discussed, like a less effective version of a Scott McTominay, Marouane Fellaini, that kind of, At least back in the day, we had like Ollie, who was actually a superstar but a striker. Now we're looking at players who haven't got an attacking bone in their body to come on and make a difference. Just make it make sense.
Yeah, it's ludicrous and it's desperation stuff, and it's not working. And I have serious doubts about this coach now. Last season is when they give him a bye ball, but what
Yeah,
I'm seeing so far this season is more of the same. And
yeah,
you're looking at a manager on the sideline who just doesn't look confident in what he's watching. He's got his
hmm,
head in his hands. He can't bear to watch defending corners, or when Bruno's taking a penalty, he can't even watch. What does that say? You know,
yeah,
I just don't see this working. Um, uh,
yeah. Neither do I at the moment. Like, I wish the manager was adaptable and you would like switch up his system, but we know for a fact that's not going to happen. So then you're stuck in this where you're kind of limited in what you can do. Like, it's the only manager I can think of actually that doesn't have any sort of plan B or is so rigid in what he believes in that he won't switch it up to a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1.
yeah,
It's very odd.
like every substitution is like for like.
Hmm.
He doesn't, not in terms of their ability. I mean, in terms
Yeah.
of he doesn't change the formation. Like if he brings a right wing back off, he'll bring a right wing back on. If he brings a
Hmm.
centre half off, he brings a centre half on. If he brings a striker off, he'll bring a striker on.
Yeah.
It's all so predictable.
Hmm.
Um,
Like, I just don't understand it. I don't understand why you can't adapt according to the situation and switch things up totally.
yeah, I said, why can't he go for a 4-3-3 if you're chasing the
Yeah.
game? Even a
Yep.
4-4-2 now and
Yep.
again. He'll never go two up top. It
Yeah.
just
Exactly. Yeah. I don't understand it.
yeah I
Makes
yeah
no sense to me.
my gut instinct is that this is going to fail and he's going to be sacked at some point. I don't know when that'll
Hmm.
be, but this ain't working. Um,
But
you know,
then they've got a decision on their hands if they do that. As in, do we bring in somebody else who reverts back to a more conventional formation that we're used to, or do you stick with this and then target someone like a Glasner who plays the same way?
it's an interesting shout. Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
I think if we
Uh,
stick with this, the shortlist has to be probably. I think because of the Premier League experience now as well, Glasner will be in there. The top end of it will probably be a Julian Nagelsmann, but that would have to be after the World Cup next year.
yeah. So Glasner's won the Europa League and the FA Cup now, hasn't he, as the
Hmm.
manager? So
Yep,
it's
and he
pretty good
plays this
going.
style and system, so
Like he's managed Eintracht Frankfurt and Crystal Palace, and he's come away with two trophies. That's good going.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, Crystal
three
Palace's
trophies if you
first
count the
ever
Community
trophy
Shield.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not do the Jose thing now. But I suppose for Palace, they'll take it all day because, it's not often that they win. I mean, their FA Cup was the first trophy in their history, so it's a huge achievement. So all credit
Yeah.
to him.
Yeah, they've waited a long time to win the FA Cup, given those
Yeah,
finals that
yeah,
they lost to United over the years.
definitely, definitely. But yeah, it does irk me though when I see all these other managers get more out of their players, even
Mm,
in similar systems with less money spent and whatnot as well. And then we've
yeah,
got all these resources but still look the same. Just doesn't sit right with me.
and it's okay, him winning leagues in Portugal, but this is a different ball
Hmm.
game, and
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. I mean, we
like,
we said the same about the other guy, didn't we? It's
I
all good
know,
and well winning in Holland.
yeah, you really need to be bringing in a manager from one of the top five leagues,
Yeah,
and
yeah. In terms of that, like since Fergie left, we've at every opportunity we've missed the boat. We've just cocked it up totally every single time when it
yeah,
comes to recruitment of manager.
yeah, Klopp or Guardiola should have been at Old
Yeah,
Trafford.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. When Fergie left, it should have been one either of those two, or if you wanted the experience, then Ancelotti, Klopp, Guardiola. Those it should have been one of those three in 2013, and then it was just absolute disaster settings. And then with Van Gaal, it was really boring and horrible football. But finally, we started to see progress, and we got that FA Cup. And then what do? You sack him. And then you bring in a guy who we know how he operates, and then you fail to back him, and you know what he's about, and you go into that half-assed. There was that one
Yeah,
summer where they gave him what Dallo, Fred, and Lee Grant, um, and then you rip that up. You bring in an interim and everyone's thinking, all right, you've got yourself some time now to plan ahead and know who you're going to get. And at that time, I think Ancelotti's at Everton. So if you wanted to go for experience, he's still available.
yeah,
And you don't do that.
and yeah, they give Solskjaer the job off the back of beating PSG in the last 16 Champions
Yeah,
League.
yeah. And even that, if we really, go back and analyze that game, it was quite fortunate.
It was. I mean, Dallo's shot was going a mile over the bar,
Yeah,
and
yeah. And
Kim,
Kim Pembe, I felt really
yeah,
bad for him because that's one of those where you can't move your hand out the way. I don't think there was any intention behind that.
yeah, um,
As a fan, it was fantastic. It was a brilliant feeling. Like, my adrenaline was high. We live for those moments, but in the long run, it did us no favors.
but to be fair to Solskjaer, he's the one manager that has agreed with me on Dallo,
Yeah.
because the first thing he did was loan him out to AC Milan and bring in
Yeah,
Wan-Bissaka.
yeah. I'll tell you what, at that time though, I didn't agree with Ollie because I was like, we have this guy, we've never really given him a chance. Obviously now with body of work under his belt, we know what he's about. And we agree that he could be nothing more than a rotational option. But at the time I did feel he was hard done by though.
I, f-
Because he
I
just
feel
came
that
in and then
Dallo,
the following season Wan-Bissaka came in.
I feel that Dallo was going to be like Lindelof. He's going to outstay his
Yeah.
welcome by 4 or 5
Yeah,
years.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, I have an issue as well when we're signing players who've not had one full season under their belt. Diogo Dallo was one of those. He'd barely had one season before we brought him in. Wolves did something similar with a Porto player in Fabio Silva. He looked very good, and we've seen the step up in Premier League compared to the Portuguese league. And when you're that young as well, it's very difficult.
Yeah, it was way too early. And yeah,
Yeah.
coming back to what you said there about Ancelotti being at Everton
Hmm.
when Solskjaer was the interim.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ancelotti then went on to win the Champions League again
Yep.
with Real
Again,
Madrid.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And when Real Madrid came in, like there was no issues. It was a very smooth transition, and they just got him. You know.
Yeah, he's
So there was a fair few opportunities missed. When Ten Hag came in, my um initially the guy I wanted was Luis Enrique. Funny enough, um, just because of his experience of what he had done at
yeah,
Barca, because he'd done the
yeah,
treble.
and he's done
He'd
it again.
managed the
He's done it again.
he'd done the he'd managed the big egos. And then this time round, you could see the changes he was making at PSG, where he got rid of big egos and stuff, and he was building a solid team. And he's done it again. Yeah,
Yeah, if we were looking for somebody who's
yeah,
qualified to manage
yeah,
Man United,
yeah.
Luis Enrique would be right up there at the top of the
Yeah,
list.
yeah, yeah. At that time, that's a chance missed there because that would have been my first choice at that time.
But he's not going to be
Because
at
well, we were
PSG
linked
for.
with because we were linked with Pochettino, weren't we? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not
Oh
a fan of
no,
Poch.
no,
I'm
no,
not a
that's
fan of Poch. This guy's proved everywhere he's
no,
gone that he just
no.
falls short.
Yeah, he's just a nearly man. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah. I didn't mind
Luis,
Ten Hag though when we first got him as well because even though I preferred Enrique, I was all right. Fair enough. You're an up and coming manager, not in age wise, but in terms of experience. But then his own philosophy and everything just went out the window.
yeah, and just signing a whole bunch of Dutch league players.
Yeah, and the money wasted as well. It's incredible stuff in it, really. I hate looking at any of those lists on like money spent over the last 5 to 10 years because we're always near the top of that, if not the top of that,
But
and nothing correlates.
but Luis Enrique probably not going to be a PSG forever, so it's something that we could
Yeah,
revisit in the future.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, listen, if he were ever to walk away, that's one of those. You don't get many opportunities at ones like that. So if he fancies
um,
a challenge,
I just want to come to Niche fan here in the comments. He says, "Sorry, Amorim has to go. He's
mm.
tactically inept, makes absurd substitutions, and won't compromise with his system at all." And then he goes on to say, "We need to get rid of Amorim. We need to get Xavi in." What do you make of that one, Brush?
oh, that's an interesting one. That I mean, in terms of his stubbornness, I do think ultimately that's going to prove to be his downfall. Inability to adapt and change. With Xavi, though, I don't think he had the best of runs at Barcelona. I'm a bit, yeah, the jury's out for me on Xavi.
Mm,
I suppose it depends style wise what he wants to do, but if he's not good enough for Barcelona, then what are we doing? Because surely that has to be the end goal, right? To get back
yeah,
competing.
I mean, another one that we didn't go for and could have been a really good manager for
Mm,
United is Hansi Flick. We
yeah,
missed out on that one too.
Hansi
He's
Flick's
done.
another one. Yeah, when he went to Barcelona, yeah, because the
Um,
experience he had done, he came in mid-season and did a treble with Bayern. Obviously,
yeah,
incredible squad he had, but still, that's quite an achievement. And at Barcelona now as well, he's doing a great job. I was watching their game yesterday. They were 2-0 down to Levante at halftime, and they came back and won 3-2.
yeah, yeah. With regards to Javi Hernandez, he won a La Liga title at Barcelona, but in Europe he didn't do particularly well. He even was knocked out of the Europa League by Ten Hag's United, which isn't
Yeah.
great.
Hmm.
Um, Anthony scored against them. So yeah, Xavi wouldn't be my pick if I'm honest. I'd be looking for someone a bit better than that. And we've talked about a number of names there. Uh, Luis Enrique and Ancelotti would be top of the list without a doubt. Is there any possibility of Ancelotti having a release clause at Brazil that we could pay?
I think now that ship has well and truly sailed. I think just because of age as well. I think he's too old
Yeah,
for it now. And also, he's a manager now that works better where you need to have the names. Like, he's not all about tactics and stuff. He likes to let the players just do what they want to do and express themselves. And that works to a degree if you've got the personnel for that. Um, but I don't think
mm.
we're in the position for that. So, yeah.
What he is a man manager. He's not so
Hmm.
much a tactician.
Yeah, he's not really a
Ancelotti.
tactician like that. Yeah, that's exactly what he is.
Mm. But that might work really well at United,
Yeah,
having a man manager like well, it has in the past, of course.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Zinedine Zidane's one that intrigues me, but again, his unwillingness to take any other job.
Mm.
It would have been nice to have a bit more on his CV. Like, obviously, incredible winning 3 Champions Leagues and that, but I would have liked to have seen him at one or two other clubs by now, just to see what he can do.
Yeah, he seems a bit lazy, if for
Yeah,
want of a better phrase.
it looks as if the only job he's waiting for is the France national job. And
Yeah.
Didier Deschamps has pretty much got that for life, hasn't he? He's been there so long.
Yeah. It looked as if Zidane only wants to manage teams that he played for.
Yeah, yeah.
That
And then I'll tell you what, I think Juventus have already got a new manager now, but they've had financial struggles and that, right? So if they were still at the top of their
Mhm.
game, maybe that would have enticed him.
And another big issue is that he does not speak a word of English. Zidane,
Yeah,
and
yeah, that
I
would be an issue. And I don't think he's interested in learning either, to be fair.
no,
No.
no. He's.
So yeah,
I mean, I think United have made
yeah,
inquiries about him on a
yeah,
few
yeah. And he's
occasions,
just, yeah, it's
and
always just been no, hasn't it? So yeah,
yeah.
so that's just a complete write off right there.
Now I think Niche fan is getting a wee bit carried away here now. He says he'd take Mourinho back. I have to say I wouldn't. I think Mourinho was past the sell by date as well. Look where he is now. He's in a,
He's very entertaining. He's top notch, but a lot less stressful to watch when
yeah.
he's not managing your team.
He's entertaining in the press
He's
room,
entertaining. Yeah, yeah,
but his
very much
teams are
so.
not entertaining to watch.
No, no, no,
Mm.
at
Yeah,
all.
I don't think he was a good fit because of his style of football.
Yeah.
That like if I can give you an example of when we played Liverpool at Old Trafford,
Hmm.
we were 2-0 up at half time. I think Rashford scored twice. And his instinct then was just to defend the
It's
whole of the
the
second
yeah, yeah,
half and
to yeah,
see it out.
defend the lead. Yeah, yeah, to see
That's
the
not
game out.
United. United,
Yeah.
United would United should be going out to win the game 4-0. Not what ended up happening then was Bailly scored an own goal and we're holding on then for dear life.
Hmm.
That's not how we should approach games, you know.
Definitely
Mourinho is
not.
certainly good at getting results, or at least he has been, but not a great fit
Yeah,
for United. I don't feel we need a
yeah.
manager who plays a swashbuckling style of football.
And again, he's a
Um,
manager where obviously like tactically and stuff as well, he's a bit old school, but he also needs he needs to be backed properly financially. Without financial backing, I don't know what you can expect from Jose
Nish Fanny with another comment. He says, "My dream manager would be CR7. When he
when he
when
retires.
he
Yeah.
is when retires and becomes a coach, he was going to dominate. Where's the evidence for
Okay.
that? Mm,
I
uh,
mean, he might fancy himself as a bit of a coach on the pitch. I don't know how that will translate as a manager though. Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes open for that one. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he'll go down the coaching route. To be honest, somebody like him, I see him more as like a David Beckham sort of. You know how David Beckham got
yeah,
into
yeah. I know.
Miami. I
I know
kind
what
of
you
see
mean. Yeah.
him. I kind of envisaging him owning his own club, maybe in Saudi.
Yeah, be nice if he could buy a stake in Man United, Ronaldo,
Mm.
and buy the Glazers out.
Or if you could
Before.
lead some sort of consortium, maybe that would be fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. Get rid of Jim Radcliffe on the Glazers, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
What
I
Jim
was
Radcliffe
reading
is,
a little something about that as well last week, Carl. Apparently, some sort of deadline or clause is passed now where the Glazers are now free to sell the rest of their shares if they so choose to.
mm, interesting. But
Yeah.
Radcliffe is really upset season ticket holders and supporters clubs with
Hmm.
the things that they're doing. They're taking tickets away from supporters clubs so they can sell
Yeah.
them for hundreds of pounds every
Oh
week.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all about profit now, isn't it? I mean, we shouldn't be surprised. That's all
And
it's
they
turned
told,
into.
see, my local supporters club,
Yeah.
they're raging. This guy had been running the supporters club for 56 years, and
Hmm.
they've had tickets taken off them in good
Yeah.
areas so they can sell them
Yeah.
as corporate tickets for hundreds
Yeah.
of pounds every week. And do you know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do
Throwing a bit of
you know what?
champers and that, and
Yeah, do you know what the
yeah, it's
club was
crazy.
able to find out? You know what
Yeah.
the Radcliffe or any us
Hmm.
whoever works for them anyway, you know what
Hmm.
they told my supporters club
Yeah. What
is
did they
that
tell him?
you've bought one replica shirt this season,
Mm.
so you're not coming here and buying enough merchandise.
So what is there a minimum
Mm,
requirement?
mm,
Is there somewhere in
yeah,
the small print that says you need to spend X amount? You need to buy X
mm,
amount. It's ridiculous.
mm. And that's what it's all about. Man City are doing this
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
That's
They,
unfortunately this is what it is now. I mean, Man City fans are starting to realize, like the hardcore City fans who been going since they were absolute pants to now, and they're noticing the changes now, aren't they? In the stadium, they're looking for any reason to get rid of, and yeah, they'll start seeing an influx as well of faces that they never used to see before.
they, they want to make season ticket holders a thing of the past. They
Yeah,
don't want that.
absolutely. If they could, they would just sell tickets like on a weekly basis, like just game for game. Like season
Yeah,
tickets don't hold the same weight they used to. And also, Kyle, I'm sure you've been keeping up with it as well. We've seen in other leagues now, they're starting to get the green light to play games abroad. So
yeah,
La Liga as well. La Liga have been in talks to hold a game
yeah.
abroad, and so have Serie A. There's going to be a Serie A game in Australia, I think, if they get the green light finally. But yeah, it's insane stuff. But that's the way the game's moving now. Unfortunately, we're going to start seeing it. So yeah.
Mm, yeah. And I've seen that Radcliffe is starting to look at some of the NFL model and all as well in
Hmm.
terms of selling tickets and
Absolutely, and they'll look at stuff like that friendly we had against Real Madrid and USA, when over 100,000, was it 112,000 fans that turned up?
yeah.
That's the kind of stuff they'll have in mind for big fixtures in the future. So
Mhm,
it's inevitable. So yeah, I don't like it, but unfortunately, that's where we're headed.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
I just
I
don't
just
understand as well, like how it would make sense if you move a league game elsewhere, because surely then you have to play the reverse fixture somewhere neutral as well. Otherwise, it's not fair.
100%. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, and then
but
also the travel, the heat and the weather conditions, it can affect so much.
uh, absolutely would not want Elon Musk at Old Trafford for yeah. He's just a dick.
Unhinged person.
Yeah, yeah,
I think he's actually ruled it out because people used to annoy him on Twitter, going, "Oh, can you buy Man United?" And I think he actually responded to it one time, saying he's got no interest in football.
good, good. Don't
Yeah,
want him. Don't need
but
that
I
kind of
mean, we'll
drama.
probably have the same problems with him because he wouldn't know what's going on. So even if he were
Yeah,
to acquire it, he would leave it in somebody else's hands.
yeah, yeah. He'd be one of those people who'd probably try and tell the manager which players to pick and all. He just wouldn't want someone like that. Um, my issue with Radcliffe is that uh, two things really. It's it's how they're treating the supporters.
Yeah,
With the ticket prices and any excuse to take tickets off people or to ban
basically.
people,
Yeah.
and also the 400 staff that were made redundant.
Hmm.
Um, you know,
But at the end of the day, though, Carl, I think they'll get away with it because here's a shiny new signing.
mhm.
Yeah, all those people have lost their jobs.
Yeah,
We've cut here and there, but
do you
here's
know?
Benjamin Sheshko.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
exactly what happened. Do you know
yeah,
19, the 1958 group?
yeah,
They wanted to. They left it up to their members to decide whether
yeah,
to have a protest
yeah.
before the Arsenal game. Well, the
Hmm.
members voted against having a protest
Hmm.
because they were bought. They were bought by the silence. That's
Well, yeah.
essentially it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. So
So,
any time they raise their concerns, yeah, they'll just give you a new shiny new toy, and
so
wow.
the results are already starting to go downhill,
Hmm.
and then you'll see the protest move and come back
Yeah,
again. So you just look fickle when you do that. You know that
yeah.
you're only going to protest when we're losing. But we'll make a few signings, we'll win a few games, then we're not going to protest. You can't do that. You have to be
Ultimately, the protests for me, I don't think they do anything really until these
no,
people
no.
decide they want to piss off. There's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Because
the
even when you're
only form.
protesting, the real criminals aren't even there. They're not at Old Trafford every week.
Yeah,
They're not
the
affected.
see marching from the city centre to the Old
Hmm.
Trafford for game. That I'm not criticizing anyone for doing that.
Yeah,
It's you have
it's
to
an
give people. It's
admirable thing,
admirable.
especially
Yeah,
it shows your love and commitment for the club and all of that. But the people that it actually needs to affect, it
the,
doesn't affect.
yeah. The only way to actually you know to have an effective protest is a
Mm.
big empty stadium live on Sky Sports.
Yeah, it's to hit them in their pockets, but the club's too big. You simply
Yeah.
can't do it. You can't organize something like that.
Or even a mass walkout. They've tried
Yeah,
that as
yeah.
well, I think, but then only a few thousand people left. It's
Well,
just
yeah,
not.
that's the thing, in it. So and again, like, listen, people sometimes wait their whole lives for a trip to Old Trafford, and if you're one of
Yeah,
those people, are you really going to make it all that way, and then walk out, or are you going to sit there and enjoy it and take it all in for the full 90
yeah.
minutes? You
As you
know,
said, the fan base is coming from all over the world, so
all over the world.
it's
Like,
difficult
yeah,
then to organize in that situation.
exactly. Yeah, and you can't really have a go at those people either. Because honestly, like, I'm not exaggerating when I say some people have really waited their whole life just to turn up and experience that. I think last year I saw something on the timeline. Some dude cycled from Asia.
That's
It
right.
was
Yeah,
an epic journey. Like, it was a long thread about his journey to Old Trafford.
He met Wayne Rooney, didn't he, on
Yeah,
arrival?
yeah.
Uh, yeah, Mongolia, I think he was from.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
What a journey. So imagine telling that guy that he needs to walk out at halftime.
but I know what you mean. Yeah. So Nish fan says we need a proper billionaire. Sir Jim just wants to make money off the club. We need a billionaire who will keep their prices down so normal people can attend the matches. Yeah, but Man City have all the money in the world, yet they're still treating the
Mm,
fans like shit. So that doesn't guarantee
yeah.
anything. They're
Yeah,
doing.
and also it's about sustainable business models. So even all these billionaires, there's very few that just spunk all the money. They still want to try and level out the books and stuff and make the club sustainable. And
Okay,
obviously with
this.
PSR and stuff as well, it kind of stops you now as well from doing what the likes of Roman Abramovich did, where he just came in and just gave
Yeah.
loads of money to the club. You know,
Which Newcastle fans are extremely pissed off about.
Yeah, that they can't do the same, which is why they're annoyed. But yeah, sometimes I just think you need to be a bit reflective and grateful because listen, if it wasn't for this Saudi ownership, Newcastle probably would have got relegated. Like, look at what you're complaining about. I mean, as much as we, laugh at you in this transfer market, you've still made quality signings. You still got Champions League football. Like, just
I
be
know.
grateful.
He, Niche fan is starting to name all the billionaires now. It's all fanciful stuff. This Jeff Bezos is his latest one. That ain't happening. He's not. He's he's more interested in spending millions on his wedding in Venice than anything like that.
Yeah,
Although there is, what is he? He has invested in something though. What is it? Something recently he's got involved in. I think it's the James Bond franchise he owns now. That's
really,
what he's
that's
interested
insane.
in.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's just doing
Um.
side missions now, is it? He's pretty much completed everything else.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't like that guy either. The shite wages that they pay their workers, and
Yeah.
the Amazon workers tried to unionize, and the basically the hierarchy blocked it. They wouldn't allow them to unionize. So
Hmm.
I don't like a company like that, to be honest. So I don't. But there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire, is there? Let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's going to be hard
I
to come
think the
by.
closest thing we might have might be Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
She might be the closest thing to an
Yeah.
ethical billionaire because because her tour broke records, didn't it? So officially she's a billionaire now.
Dr. Dre. um, yeah, there are many of them out there, of course, but not many are interested in band football clubs.
Well,
Like,
yeah, that's the
like
thing, and
one
especially
person,
the other thing as well. I want to say, Carl, with billionaires, it's a common misconception that billionaires use their own money to acquire assets. They don't.
no,
They
no, they don't.
borrow and leverage, and they come up with these committees. They raise the funds. They never really just put up their own money to buy things.
And a lot of their money is assets. It's not cash.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
it isn't. They often take out loans against their assets because you don't have to pay interest. You don't have to pay
Yeah,
taxes on loans, and that's how they survive.
yeah, I agree with that. He says there's no such thing as ethical capitalism. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, Taylor Swift. That's the conclusion we've come to. That's who we need.
that's that's who we need.
Does she even like soccer?
Uh,
I don't know. But yeah,
Listen,
one.
if those plans for the new stadium were to get the green light, we'd have to get the likes of to perform in order to capitalize and
Yeah,
make the most out of it.
I think we've got Coca Cola on board now as one of the
That's a
sponsors. So
big move. Yeah, that's one that I really like actually. Personally, in my opinion, that should be our main shirt sponsor. I just think that's two global giants. It's one of the
yeah,
most recognizable logos in the world. It makes sense.
yeah, we should be making them a main sponsor rather than a
We
side
should.
one.
We really
Like
should.
there's one, there's one very rich person, not very rich, sorry, rich person who owns a football club who I wouldn't mind being in charge of my club, and that's Ryan Reynolds. Like that's worked out really well.
Oh, what they're doing
You
at
know,
Wrexham. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's
but
incredible stuff.
unfortunately, he doesn't have that kind of cash to
Yeah,
come in
yeah.
and,
And
and
even
take
with
over.
that, like, I mean, obviously they've spent, but it's a harsh reality check, the championship for them. I don't think they've started particularly well, and they've spent
No,
about
they're in the they're in the
25.
they're in the
Yeah,
big leagues now.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
different
they're in the
ball
big
game.
leagues now, and they've spent about 20-25 million, which for the championship is a decent amount. But yeah, there's levels. You just have to look at like the big jump up to the Premier League now. Look how much money that Sunderland is spending just to try and survive, and that's what you have to do now. If you make it to the Prem, you're looking at 100 to 200 million just to make yourself Premier League worthy, and that
Yeah,
could mean
the
finishing
Forest model.
17th. Yeah, yeah, it's the Forest model, and even that, look how close they came to relegation. They just about
Yeah,
clung on, didn't they? They hung on. Then they got fined as well for breaches in FFP and all of that. Got point deductions before the
yeah.
success. So yeah, it's a very hard road.
So I'm going to do the painful rundown of the player ratings to finish the
Mm.
show. So Bayern Deer made a couple of decent saves, but absolutely woeful on corners and lucky to get away with it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and it's a thing where it's highlighted now, so it's a problem going forward because everybody's going to target it, unfortunately.
so
Yeah, some good saves as well. Though. For me, the one that stood out was the long range effort from Alex Iwobi. He got down and saved that. Good.
yeah, and the one-on-one he saved with his
Yeah,
left
the
foot.
one on one with his leg. Yeah, yeah.
So I'll give him a 6. I'll be generous
Mm.
about it. Lenny Yoro, as you say, probably our best player. I'll give
Best
him a
player.
7.
Yeah, yeah. Country mile. He was our best.
A 7. Obviously
Yeah,
involved in our goal.
yeah.
That last ditch tackle he made was unbelievable.
Hmm.
Mateus Delict, I'm liking him more now. He's been very
Yeah, yeah,
aggressive with his
yeah.
defending. He was trying to get out in front of his
He's
man.
probably realizing that you need that in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You can't afford to sit back.
So I'll give him a 7. Luke Shaw had a very
Poor
poor
game.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And was very sloppy in a couple of
Hmm.
occasions. And miscontrolling and the ball going out of play. Yeah, I'll give him a 5. Dallo not as or Ahmad Diallo, sorry, not his greatest day,
No.
but still would have kept him on because what he's capable of. Wouldn't
Yeah.
would have brought on Dallo for him, like. But so I'll give him a 4. Casemiro booked for simulation, had another one of those wild lunges where he made
Hmm.
contact with neither the ball or the man.
Hmm.
Um, a 4. Bruno Fernandes, very poor game, woeful penalty, a 4 out of 10 for him.
Yeah.
Pato Dorgu, another very poor performer on the day, another 4 out of 10.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so many times where he giving needless fouls away, miscontrolling the ball, distrib- distribution very poor, just yeah, all around very bad game. Um, Brandon Bimo, yeah, very underwhelming performance. I have to be honest. I think
Yep.
by this, I seen Sky put up the touch map. By the 70th minute, he'd only had 6 touches in the second half.
Hmm.
Um, he tried to buy a foul and later on in the game, which it was definitely not a foul. Um, yeah, it just was not his day. Didn't really
Hmm.
go for him today. But I do have confidence in him that he will perform for United this season.
Hmm.
Um, so a 4 for him as well. Mateus Cunha, probably our best attacking player. Hit the post, of course. Forced a great touch from that ball over the top from Bayern Deer, and the keeper made a decent save. So I give him a 6, and but he faded in the second half. Um, Mason Mount, industrious as always, did well, but I would rather be playing with a striker, and so give him a 6. And yeah, the substitutions. Obviously, the two centre backs come on very late.
I
Diogo
think that's the
Dallo,
one that really irks most of us, isn't it? It's the two centre backs coming on.
yeah, doesn't
Yeah.
make sense when it's 1
Nope.
1. Yeah, it was desperation stuff. Yeah, hoping
Yeah,
that
yeah. I can
one
understand
of
if you're playing top of the league opposition and you're fighting for a point, but at this stage of the season, no, no, it's a disgrace.
he was hoping that one of them was score from a corner, which just
Again, if that's your plan B, then
uh,
we've got a lot of problems.
yeah, that's you see that comes back to what I was saying throughout the show. I'm just
Yeah,
worried about Amorim, to be honest.
yeah.
And Dallo was a disastrous substitution.
Hmm.
Said he lost the ball needlessly, which led to their goal. He even in the attacking third of the pitch, when Bumo plays the ball to him, hits off his shins and goes out for a goal kick. Yeah,
Hmm.
just he was absolutely terrible. I give him a
Yeah,
3 out of 10. And Shesko didn't really do much, did he?
didn't do anything. I can't really comment on anything he did really.
He he played a really heavy ball out to Dorgu at one point
Hmm.
that Dorgu miscontrolled him and out of play. Um, s like he did okay when he was coming deep to receive the ball, and he was finding a red shirt with his pass, so I give
Hmm.
him that. But I mean, it was
It's very difficult as well when you're just coming on as a sub. I think you need to just work up to that start. He needs to start.
yeah, it is difficult, and
Yeah, because we saw
he
that with Diego Forlan. Do you remember? Because he just kept getting 20 minutes here and there for ages, and then the press were killing him as well because they were just not looking at the minutes he played, but just started adding them all up as appearances. And there was mad headlines like, "Oh, 20 appearances, no goals."
yeah, so I'll
But
give
if
him a
you,
5.
yeah, but yeah,
But
he didn't really do anything, did he? Yeah,
he needs to start against Grimsby and get a couple
he
of
needs to
goals.
start. Yeah, yeah, he does.
A player of his quality should be able
Yeah,
to score against Grimsby.
definitely, definitely. If he doesn't, then well, let's cross that bridge if we come to it. Hopefully, we don't.
Yeah, Niche says crazy substitutions. Use the word absurd as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, I definitely would describe him that way myself.
Yeah.
So, uh, Amorim would he would get a 2 out of 10.
Hmm.
Starting 11 was questionable. The substitutions even worse. Um, yeah, the two subs at the end were just absolutely ridiculous.
I'm not really going to question the starting lineup to be fair, because any team we put out should be capable of beating Fulham.
But
And
yeah, you have to question not playing Shesko from the start and sticking to Bayendier after what he did against Arsenal. Those are questionable selections. Was he being stubborn with the Bayendier thing?
with the Pioneer one, I think maybe it's just to send a clear message as well that you know he's not going to give in to pressure, or maybe like you suggested, maybe something's gone on behind the scenes with him and Anana, where
Hmm.
confidence is just completely shot. That relationship is dead. So he's making a point of it there.
Because he didn't like the question last week from Samuel Luckhurst about Bayendier,
Yeah,
and
yeah. About Tom Heaton. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's
He was really fired up, wasn't he? So he's probably adamant to stick to that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Sammy Lamens comes in.
so. Was it a case of I'm sticking with Bayendier out of spite because the press are telling me to drop him? Yeah, was an
Perhaps,
element
but
of that.
also I think there's an element where I just think at the moment he just wants to send a message to Anana maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. Once Onana didn't play today,
Hmm.
now last week you could say he only had 3 training sessions ahead
Yeah.
of the Arsenal game,
Yep.
but for him not to play today, there's something
Yep.
not right there. The
Definitely.
Either they had a fallen out or the manager just doesn't want him and he wants to send a clear
Hmm.
message.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think the manager did ask for Donnarumma, didn't he? But then was told that it's too expensive. So
Mhm. Well, I would say
yeah.
most managers would take him.
Well, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and our conclusion is that we want Luis Enrique in charge of United
Mm.
someday, if possible. So thanks to everybody who joined us in the comments, and thanks for coming on as always, Brush.
Yeah. No worries. Hopefully, we'll be in better spirits after the next game.
Let's hope so. It is against Grimsby Town.
Yeah. I meant the Premier League game, but yeah, Grimsby. You'd think that would be a dead cert, but you never know in football, do you?
Yeah, we should beat Burnley at home as well. You'd
Yeah.
think. You'd
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. If we're
So
struggling against Burnley, then I think
we're in big
like
trouble.
yeah, big trouble.
If we don't get 3 points against Burnley, I think Amorim is on a slippery slope.
Yeah, definitely. I think because then we're probably looking at the second international break as maybe the time where deja vu. Ah,
Yeah, that's a good point there from Nish Funny. He says, let's be honest, lads, only Kuna and Yarrow get into the top teams. Interesting. Yeah, would
uh,
you go along with that?
yeah, yeah. I can't really disagree with that at this moment in time.
I do think we need to be patient with Mbumo. I think it will happen for him.
Mm.
I wouldn't write him off, just yet now. I think he's a quality player. So we shall wrap it up there. And please, if I smash a like on the video, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or Apple, and get your comments in, and I will reply to many of those. I'm sure lots of people will have strong opinions on what they witnessed today and might be questioning Amorim like ourselves. I know there definitely is people on X who are questioning Amorim today, like myself. So I want to hear more of your opinions, guys. So I shall. See you all, and me and Brush will likely be back after the Burnley game. So see you later then, mate.
Yep. Catch you next time. Take care, all.
All right.